Welcome to our weekly Torah lesson. This week's Torah portion is Parsha Vayeira, and the question of the week is, what is the power of the tefillin that we wear on our head? So this week's Torah portion is Parsha Vayeira. We learn about Avraham Avinu not feeling well after the circumcision. So as we're learning now the Zohar, so we're going to quote from the Zohar, powerful teaching from the Zohar. The Zohar says as follows. The rabbis taught us, when Rebbe Eliezer HaGadol, the great Rebbe Eliezer, was not feeling well, that day it was Erev Shabbat. And he called to him his son, Hyrcanus, and he was teaching him very, very deep ideas. And then he tells him, go to your mother and tell her that she should take his tefillin and put it in a very, very high place. And after he passes away, he's going to come to see the tefillin, and she should not cry. That's the Zohar. Powerful Zohar. Comes along the Rebbe's father, and the Rebbe's father says as follows. He explains this piece of Zohar. That he told his son to tell his mother to put the tefillin in a high place. Why is that? Because the Rebbe's father explains that tefillin, phylacteries, on a spiritual level is called moichin, intellect, the ema. Ema literally means mother, but referring to Bina. In other words, even in the spheres of Netzach Hod Yisoid, it's referring to what level? Ema, Bina. And that's the level that Rebbe Eliezer was on. He was on the level of Moichin the Ema. And that's why he told him, tell your mother not to cry. Why? Because why does somebody cry? The reason why you cry when you don't understand something, so you cry. In other words, it's lacking the power of Ema. But when you have Bina, there's no reason to cry. And now that you have tefillin, the phylacteries, which represents Moichin, intellect of Ema of Bina, there's no reason to cry. And he himself is going to come see it. And therefore, why should you be crying? He himself is going to be there. Now, why he himself? Because Rebbe Eliezer HaGadol, he was on the same level of the tefillin shel Rosh. And therefore, when you're going to have the tefillin, and he's going to come see it, so therefore there's not going to be a reason to cry. That's what the Rebbe's father explains. And he brings a proof, because it says in the Torah, on the verse, V'ro kol ha'mayaretz, all the nations of the world are going to see, Ki Shem Hashem nikra lach, the name of Hashem is on you. So how are the world going to see that the name of Hashem is on you? So it's explained, and it says, when you have the tefillin shabarosh, when you have the tefillin on your head, then they're going to see the name of Hashem is on you. Who said this? Rebbe Eliezer HaGadol. So we see his connection to it. So the Rebbe says he'd like to add an explanation. Why is it that when the nations of the world see you wearing tefillin, they're going to be afraid of you? And Rebbe Eliezer says this. So the Rebbe says there's another powerful teaching of Rebbe Eliezer, and he says as follows: that someone that's into idolatry, so what's his natural thought? He thinks idolatry. So even if you're like neutral and your mind just wanders, what are you going to think about? Things that you naturally are trained to. So therefore, what do you need to do to go ahead and not be in the neutral state that you end up thinking about inappropriate things? You have to go ahead and put on tefillin. Because since your natural default state is going to be of idolatry, not necessarily holy things, so therefore you have to be proactive and go ahead and put on the tefillin. So when you put on the tefillin, then you're going to have the godliness upon you, and then you will nullify the idolatry, and then you'll have the greatest blessings. So in other words, what's the reason, and what's so important to put on tefillin? Because until we don't put on tefillin, our mind wanders, and we can end up thinking about inappropriate things. However, once we put on the tefillin, we have the power of God upon us. And we just learned in the Zohar, it creates the powerful light of Moichin, intellect of Ema, of Bina, which creates a beautiful, powerful, great, godly energy upon us. And therefore, the Rebbe always encouraged everyone to put on tefillin every single day. Why? Because by putting on tefillin, we're literally creating a powerful, godly energy on us, and that will avoid us, like it says over here from the Zohar, from crying, not understanding certain things. We'll have a whole different godly perspective. Thanks so much for joining us for our weekly Torah lesson. This week's Torah lesson is dedicated to memory of Baruch Ben Leib, Shlomo Yosef, Rachel Baslipa, and Tina Basara. May their souls be elevated by the Torah we're studying in their memory. For more information, please see our website, Chabad, SWF.org. Have a great and blessed week. Shavua Tov.